11.6. The second to last section in 11, preventive maintenance. We've talked about preventive maintenance before. We had a whole chapter on the troubleshooting process before. So preventive maintenance, of course, makes sure that everything maintains full functionality to reduce downtime, right, where things can't be accessible. Huya? All right, so we've already talked about this a lot. Let's scroll down to security. Now, of course, preventive maintenance also includes updating and patching our operating systems, our applications, removing unwanted programs, etc., to limit the potential for risks, for threats, etc. And as well, somewhat related to security is startup. What applications, what programs, when you boot up your computer, are going to run at boot, at startup? And we've talked about that already. Easy day? All right, we'll do these labs here in a little bit. Updating Windows. We've seen this exact slide before where you can update your software. Microsoft releases updates on what's called Patch Tuesday. It is the second Tuesday of each month. Now you can have these updates be done automatically, or you can search for them yourself to ensure that they're done. Easy day? Now, what is the thing that each piece of hardware has so it can communicate with the operating system? Driver, that's that translator. Where do we go to look at, configure, and roll back those drivers? Device manager, right, which is a part of computer management. We've seen this before already. Firmware, it's that software on those ROM chips, the commonly executed instructions. We may need to flash the BIOS or update the software that's on our BIOS or our UEFI. Easy day? And our first video.
All right, everyone, it is time for us to talk about the task scheduler. Why stay up late at night just to clean your machine before the next day when we can tell the machine to do this automatically, among many other things? With the task scheduler, we can schedule it to open applications using executable files. We can have it run scripts. We can even have it open and execute on batch files. You can go to town with it. So to get started, let's find the task scheduler. That's going to be in our Start button. And in the Start button, we're going to head all the way down the left side, scrolling through our Start menu. And we're going over to Windows Administrative Tools. When we click on this, it's a large list of tools. So scroll down, and we're going to find inside of here Task Scheduler. It's got the clock. So we can click on that clock with Task Scheduler, and it'll open up our application. When Task Scheduler opens up, we might do some resizing of our windows because it is a huge amount of info. Don't let it scare you. So I'm just going to orient my window a little bit here, expand it, and move it around. There we go. That's better. So what we can see here is a general overview of the Task Scheduler. On the left, we've got a pane where we can sort through a lot of the different tasks that will exist. We can expand and collapse that. In the middle, we'll be able to take a look at some of the tasks that are already in existence. And then on the far right side, we have actions that we can take. Now let me scroll down in the middle pane. What we'll see here is on my machine, there's 83 some tasks running in the background. Now, not all these are scheduled to run. We can sort through all these, and you'll find some that are created by Microsoft Windows, some that are created by third-party applications that want to keep updated regularly. There's tons of them. So don't worry about this. What we want to do now is talk about scheduling our own individual tasks for our own purposes. What I want to do is talk about cleaning up my PC automatically on Sundays, for example. So on the right side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on Create a Basic Task. When I select Create Basic Task, we're going to get a pop-up. And this pop-up window is going to load, and it's going to show us that we can name it. So here it is. Create the basic task, give it a name. This is going to be called Clean Up My PC. For the description, I'm going to say what this is for. And it's going to be that we're going to use disk cleanup on Sundays. And you know what? I don't have to run it manually. We're going to have this thing scheduled to run automatically. When I click Next, it says, when should it run? Should this be daily, weekly, monthly, just one time, or even when the computer boots up, when I log in with an account, or even when a specific event is logged as occurring? I'm going to go with weekly. When I select weekly, I can click Next, and it will get some weekly settings. For example, when to start. I'm going to click on my calendar, and I'm going to have this thing start on Sunday. This Sunday. And for the time for it to start, I'm going to have it go to 11:55 p.m. So 11:55 p.m. when hopefully I'm sleeping, my system's going to do a disk cleanup for me automatically. We'll have this occur every week, and I'll have it occur every Sunday. From here, I can click Next, and now we get to choose what's going to happen, which should be disk cleanup. We're going to use Start a Program. We're not going to do the deprecated send an email or deprecated give us a message on our machine. We're going to use Start a Program and click Next. This is now the hardest part of the task scheduler. We need to select the program that we want to run, or the batch file or script we're going to execute. For me, I'm going to click on that Browse button on the right side, and we're going to get the Windows System 32 directory, which is a massive directory. I had to do some online research, and I found that the cleanmgr.exe is the executable file for disk cleanup. So I'm going to select that and click Open. Now the issue I have here is if I just finish this with a Next and a Finish button, at 11:55 at night, disk cleanup's going to open, and it's going to wait for me to do something. But I'm hopefully going to be asleep. So I need this to automate. So I need to use this Add Argument field here. I don't know what the arguments are. Well, there's a couple ways to figure it out. For example, I can click my Start button, and we're going to look for a command prompt, which is command prompt or CMD. I'm going to run it as administrator. This is going to take me to the directory of Windows System 32 with elevated privileges. Inside of here, I'm going to use clean mgr, which is that application, and followed by my / for help. And what I'm going to get here is the possible arguments, and these are just some of them. We can set an instance, which sage set means we can actually build settings in our registry file where n is an instance number. And then later on, I can use sage run to call upon those settings for disk cleanup that are stored in my registry. This is what I'm about to do here. So first, let's start off by setting some configuration for disk cleanup that we can call upon. And that's going to be our clean mgr, and that's .exe, followed by / sage set. And we're going to make, let's say, instance 1. When I hit enter here, it's going to open up disk cleanup and allow me to choose options. And these options will be saved in the registry for instance 1. So we'll say things like, you know what, temporary setup files, sure. I'm going to scroll down and look for the recycle bin. I know I got garbage in there. Set the recycle bin. Maybe that downloads folder will wipe out, which can be dangerous because you don't want to lose stuff. And I'm going to click OK. And when I click OK, these settings are going to be saved as instance 1 in my registry. And just take a look for a second. Here's my recycle bin. It's full of garbage. I've got garbage in the recycle bin. And we're going to watch this thing clear out automatically. So what we need to do now is we have this instance 1 set for disk cleanup in the registry. Now we need to call upon it with our task scheduler. And that'll be according to the arguments that we saw, sage run : 1. We're going to run instance 1. I'm going to go ahead and click next. I get a review of all my settings, the name of clean up my PC, do it on Sundays, every week at 11:55 at night on every Sunday. And we're going to run cleanmanager.exe, which is disk cleanup, and call upon instance 1 for the settings stored in my registry. I'll click Finish. On the left side, I can go ahead and click on Task Scheduler Library in the left pane, and we'll see this now listed as one of the items that are going to be occurring. It is ready, it's good to go. I can right-click on it, we can run it right now, which we're about to do. I can end it if it is running. I can disable this thing so it doesn't occur anymore. I can export it and bring it into another PC as an import, or I can modify it by clicking Properties, or I can say I'm done with it completely and just delete it. Watch that recycle bin. We're going to run it right now just to test it out, just to make sure it's working correctly, and it should clear that recycle bin automatically. When I click Run, in the bottom, we see it's performing, it's going.
I'll select it.
And then it's going to shut down automatically. And that recycle bin is no longer full of garbage. And also, if there's stuff in the downloads folder, scary, they're now gone. Make sure you did want to clear that regularly. But you can always review your settings and change it at a later time. So this is Task Scheduler. This is having fun and being able to practice and make it effective for you in your workplace and at home. Play with it, master it, and become that IT professional.
All right, what do we think of Task Scheduler? We'll finish this section and then I'll demonstrate that and a few other things in your virtual machines. But next we're going to talk about restore point, backups, and file history. So restore point, we talked about before, creating an image, etc. This is something that we're going to demonstrate here in a second. But a restore point, you can go back to a previous point of time in your computer for the system, right? With the operating system files, the registry, etc. You can go back to that point in time. Let's say a common issue, Chang, is the drivers, right? Let's say rolling back the driver, updating software doesn't fix the issue. Well, you can go back to a previous point and you can restore to that point. Does that make sense?
Yes. So like
Jackson.
oh my bad, when it comes to like that download, like that he just deleted,
Uh-huh.
you can't restore back to that. Like say if you didn't want to clear your downloads, like you just click after you
So this doesn't do user files, just system files. But what could you do for that? Well, that's the next section, which is a backup, which you could back up your user files, your downloads.
like after you already just cleared it off your
Yeah, if you've got a backup on a remote hard drive or a USB, well then you've got those files that you could bring back if need be. Good to go? All right, yeah, so the next section is backing up our hard drives, which we've talked about. But the new thing that we're adding here is what's called file history. Now imagine that you are writing your notes in a Word document or an Excel document, etc. You with this, Cheng? What you can do, right, when you're saving that, or it's got autosave over periodic times, well, you can go into your settings and you can restore it. Oh, this was deleted. Or you can go back to yesterday when it autosaved, or maybe 2 days ago, etc. It allows you to pull up these previous versions that were done. Who ya? And we'll watch a video to see how that's done now. Yeah, this is going to be a very common thing for you.
Hello everyone, we are here to talk about backing up and restoring files on our computer. So let's get started here in Windows 10. I'm going to right click on my start button and we're heading over to settings. Now when we get inside of settings, we're going to scroll down and we're going to click on update and security. It's where the important stuff is, including backing up your files. So inside of update and security, right in here, we're going to click on this button called backup. And when we click on backup, we can watch the right side of our screen propagate, and look at that, backup using file history. Now, file history is a really cool tool here inside of Windows 10. It allows us to back up our files to another drive. Keyword, another drive. What that means is we're not going to back up our files inside of our C drive to another folder in our C drive. We're going to back up our files from one hard disk to another completely different hard disk, or from our hard disk to a USB flash drive. Or we can even use file history to back up from our hard disk to a network location. We can even do cloud storage. It is cool. Now let's get started. I'm using a USB flash drive. It's here in my File Explorer. It is called USB Drive E, and it is empty. I've got like 7.3 gigs of unusable space here. So we're going to use this USB thumb drive. So I'm going to go ahead and click Add a Drive. File history is going to scan my machine. It's going to see that 7.3 gig USB thumb drive. So I'll select it. And all of a sudden, it looks like you're done. It says it's on. You're like, it's blue. I like it. Well, we got to do some more. Let's go ahead and click on More Options. Inside of More Options, we can see the current size of our backup is 0 bytes. There's nothing there. There's no backup. We already see here, your data is not yet backed up. Thank you. The total size of my drive being 7.3 gigs. Now I can just go ahead and click backup now and call it a day, but let's review some of the important settings inside of this screen. For example, how often should my files be backed up? The default is every hour. In this dropdown, I can change it to once a day, every 12 hours, even down to 10 minutes. I'll leave it at the default of every hour. And then how often should I keep each hourly backup? By default, it is set to forever. What this means is when a backup occurs, we store it forever. 1 hour later, when another backup occurs, we store that one also. Our backups are not replacing each other. Every hour, a new backup is taken and stored on that drive you select. Keep that in mind, especially when you choose the size of the drive you're using for backup. So what are the files being backed up? Well, by default, we can see the list of them. My saved games folder, a downloads folder, favorites, contacts. We can just scroll through the whole thing. Cisco Packet Tracer is there, documents, camera, videos. Wow, that's a lot. Now, if I wanted to get rid of one of these from being backed up, all I need to do is click on, for example, the Saved Games folder, and I will click on Remove. I'm not concerned about having that backed up every hour. The list repopulates at the bottom, and now we can see my current folders being backed up. Now, I know there's items in my Downloads folder I want to keep, but also I know there's items in the Downloads folder I don't want backed up. So I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom, and I'm going to use another option, which is exclude these folders. So I'm going to click to add a folder that I want to exclude from being part of the backup. I get my choice here, and I'm going to go into my Downloads folder, and I'm going to select the directory Cisco Videos. With 8 gigs on my flash drive that are available to populate backups, I don't want to include my Cisco Videos. So I'll go ahead and click Choose this folder. And now that folder of Cisco Videos is going to be excluded from ever being backed up. I think we're ready to go. We're going to give this a try. My current flash drive right now, check it out. We didn't do any backups yet, but there's already a directory in it with 7.45K. What that is going to be configuration information. This configuration that we're building here in these options, they're being saved. We're ready for the backup, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Backup Now. And at this time, my flash drive is going to be having data written to it. And of course, in the future, every hour, forever, these backups will be being dropped on my flash drive. So we're going to pause and wait for this thing to complete the backup. With my backup finished, I have almost 500 megs of space used for the folders I specified. One of those folders, of course, being the Downloads folder. So I'm going to go ahead and browse to my Downloads folder. And let's take a look at some of the stuff in here. I've got some files and graphics. And what if there's a lab file, like a final lab exam? Well, I can go ahead and take this final lab exam and I can delete it. And just click yes, not recycle bin, just permanently delete my Cisco 3 final lab. And it's gone. So now we talk about, well, how do I recover this file? How do I bring it back to my Downloads folder? Well, what we can do is go back into our file history area. Now this is, of course, the advanced settings where we just were before, but what we can see at the bottom of our advanced settings is restore files from a current backup. When I click on that link, I'm going to get a new window. And this new window is going to say, hey, we see, because of the flash drive I have plugged in, that we can restore back to the day of April 29th, 5:15 p.m. I can go ahead and open up the Downloads folder. Then inside of here, I'm able to go in and find that final lab. And with that final lab, I can click on it, and I can click this big green Restore to Original Location button. When I click it, that lab is still in the backup. It's stored there still, but a copy of that lab is now put back inside of my Downloads folder, and now it's here again. So we can use this file history to keep multiple backups synchronized across hourly times or times that we choose. Then we can call upon a specific date and time to restore a file from. Practice with file history, learn how to create your own backups on your system, and become that IT professional.
Questions on that video? All right, I'm going to demonstrate some stuff in the virtual machine. We've been doing a lot of stuff. This is a long chapter. We're almost at the end. So we're going to demonstrate some stuff now in our virtual machines. Oh, you're good. Sorry, you caught me at a bad time. Okay. All right, everybody see the screen? Awesome. So let's start with creating a restore point. In fact, he just did that in that video. So why don't you help me out? How do we create a restore point? I'm going to go to the search bar. And I'm going to search restore point. There we go. Create a restore point right there. Everybody good? See that? Well, system restore and create, I can't do it. I first have to enable protection by selecting a drive and clicking configure. So we're going to click the C drive, and we're going to configure that. And we first have to turn on system protection. Everyone see that? Just like in the video. Now I can hit create a restore point, and we could name it Thor. Sure, Thor, and we'll do March 2026. creating a restore point. Remember, this is just our system files. It'll take a little bit of time. But that's all right. And look at that. It was created successfully. Hoo-yah? Well, creating it's one thing, but how would you use this? Let's say you got an issue and you need to use it. Well, we in the same place, we'd go to System Restore. It loads, we hit Next, and then look at that. Here is my restore point here. And then I could go through Next, and I could restore my system to there. I'm not going to hit Finish because we just did it. Easy day? Questions on that? Same thing in the video, right? Okay, now, a few sections ago, we watched and we saw how we did users and groups. Creating users, creating groups. Does anyone know or remember where we go to create users and groups? I'll give you a hint. It's where we go for a lot of things. Not control panel. There's a big hint on the screen right now. Computer management. Which is also where we can go for our drivers. Where would our drivers be? Our drivers. Device manager. To create partitions, I would go to disk management. Here's that task. We'll come back to that. Yeah, let's just do task scheduler now. Hoo-yah? Okay, so we talked briefly about scripts. If I pull up a notepad, I can create what's called a script. I'll do @echo off so it doesn't repeat the things in the command line. And then I could do something like make a directory on the shared drive or on the desktop. So we pull up command prompt, users, Navy, DRR, change directory to desktop. Boom, that's what we want right there. Make directory, C, users, Navy, desktop, and give me a name of a folder or a directory. 10? Apple, okay. Let's do another one. Give me another folder we could create. Michael Scott. Now what's that going to do? 2 folders. Very good. So I'm going to save this script. So I'll do save as. And 2 important things. I got to do all files here. And what's the file extension for a script in Windows? Who remembers? Garner? BAT. Very good. So let's come up with a name. We want to name this script. Bateman? How about Batman? Bat. And what do we save it as? Bat for batch. I'll save that on the desktop. Hoo-yah? Now, if I double-click this, that script is going to run. And look at that. Apple, Michael, and Scott were created. Everybody see that? That's how a script works. Yeah. Well, we did it in Notepad, but we saved it as a .bat, a batch file. It's a script now. So now the computer executes it as fast as it can. Did everyone see that? So now let's schedule a task run. I'm going to delete these folders. So they're there, and let's schedule a task. So I go back to Computer Management, Task Scheduler, Create Basic Task. What do you want to name this? Schedule, example, and you said what? Dwight Schrute? Yep. We'll click Next. We can choose when we want it to run. Daily, weekly. We could do monthly, when I log in, etc. So I could choose which months I want it to run. Probably all of them, right? And let's say I want it on the first and last day of the month. So should I do the 1st and the 31st? Why not? Not every month has 31 days, right? So it's got a last option here. but it'd probably be better to do like the 1st and the 15th, which are your paydays, right? So we could do that, right? Oh, paydays. We like that? All right. I can do, and we can choose what time we want it to run. It's 9:09 right now. Let's do 09:10, and we'll do 40. Give us a few seconds. Everybody good? I'll click next. What do I want it to do? I want it to start a program. I'll click next. Well, what do I want it to do? Well, we just created that script, right? So I want it to do that script. Here it is on our desktop, that Batman script. I'll do open. I've selected that. Next. And finish. Now that task is scheduled. When will it run? Well, in about 20 seconds, right? So let's go here and let's look to see what happens when it hits 09:10, 40, if that script will run. Which you should create those 3 folders. Which is probably not what you would do for a script. Did we do 40? Oh, we did the 1st and the 15th, didn't we? Oh, yeah. All right. So let's go into Task Scheduler. Here's our library. Here's our task right here, right? Let's change the triggers here. We'll double click. And let's change it from monthly to daily. And 9/11, and we'll do 40, okay? Okay. And now we'll wait. Look at that. Easy day. So that's how we do that. And then we can go in here, right? There's the task. We can see the history of it. We can refresh, etc. Huya? Questions on that? Pretty easy? Pretty cool? Go back to the script. Yeah, and then you just do your whatever script you're doing. And we're going to learn scripts in a later chapter, but we know these commands now, so it's just an easy way to show that it's effective and it works. Good to go? All right, another thing we discussed earlier was the security policy. So I can type SEC poll. Do I not have Pro on here? All right, that is a good spot for a break. Everybody good?